The 1-year story, the new chapter. I think my wife might be having an affair. She's asleep right now and I'm looking for some thoughts. So, here's my story and few things that have happened to me in my brief marriage. Met my wife 3 years ago, instant mutual attraction, off the charts bonding. And we were engaged 10 months later. She is 27. I'm 30. Wonderful wedding day, good honeymoon, but immediately afterwards things went sour and I'm not sure why. We are approaching the 3rd year of marriage. Some notes. 1. I worked a lot of long hours in our first year of marriage, like 10 to 12-hour days. She did not like this. But I was a manager and we are working against some tight deadlines. 2. After the honeymoon was over, it took us 3 months to have bond again, then another 2 months afterwards to have bond again. 3. After our first year of marriage, she gained a ton of weight, at least 35 pounds. She has been seeing a counselor and has been on meds. She was on another one that I forget the name of. She has gone through bouts of depression her entire life. 4. I am getting yelled at all the time. I will be sitting watching TV with her, and she will start picking a fight with me for no real reason. She picks on me for being too thin and it's ruining my self-esteem. I asked if she thought I was good looking and she did not answer. 5. I am often told that I do not make enough money. She works at a company where a lot of guys are making great money and she has to travel for her job. So she is around other men a lot. I make a decent living, but we are not rich. 6. We went on a trip for our 2nd anniversary and she refused to sleep with me, and she gave me a dirty look when I tried to initiate anything. I would say that we maybe have had bonded 10 to 15 times in our entire marriage, 2 years. 9 months total. 7. She does not like to be hugged by me at all. I tried kissing her on the cheek the other morning prior to us leaving for work and she winced. 8. This past December, we went to her company's holiday party together and her co-workers were acting kind of weird around me. They would stare at me for a long time and look confused and look away. Maybe I'm being too paranoid. 9. She talks, at least once a week, about her female co-workers flirting with other guys in the office. Married men going out to lunch with married women. 10. We are in marriage counseling. Our marriage counselor once asked her if she thought would be okay if I had my needs met by another woman. She really didn't have a response. 11. My wife seems to have no friends, except her mom. She seems to get home every day at 5:15 p.m. So, if she is with someone, it's on her lunch breaks only. She doesn't leave my sight during the weekends. Obviously, my marriage is in shambles. I have been thinking about divorce since Christmas. But I love this woman so much. I just feel like something is up. I'm embarrassed to say that we are on our 2nd marriage counselor. The first one sided with me on almost everything. So my wife wanted to find someone new. I am so confused, lost and sad. Who was I engaged to is not even the same person I married. We have no children, but she wants to have kids. I told her I don't want them until we are at a better place. Her physically pulling away every time I try to even embrace her makes me think her needs are being met somewhere else. Just a few other notes. My wife was heavy when we met but lost a lot of weight in order to seduce or secure our relationship. Now that she is married, it seems like just working to manage her weight. Her weight is not an issue for me. I'm still very attracted to her. But it makes me think that she has just given up for no reason at all. Her co-workers know that she is married. She has photos of us on her desk at work and of course she wears her ring at all times. Her goal in life is to have kids. I want kids too. I told her in order to have kids we need to be intimate. Again, I get this blank stare. It is frustrating. I don't know what she wants. I have done my part. I work hard. I get home at reasonable hours. I'm in top physical shape. Her parents and family friends seem to love me. I know it's largely her issues. It's not to say I'm perfect. I'm not the best communicator, but it's hard to want to communicate with someone who is just a genuinely difficult and is always so miserable. I just don't know what I have done. I feel like the expectations are just unreasonable. I don't fantasize about being with other women either, but it's hard when I've got friends who are girls who think I'm really good looking. When they comment on a Facebook photo of me and compliment me, she gets jealous and questions me. So basically, I've got other women validating me and she doesn't even see that she has a really good man in her own presence. I don't want to leave her, but what can I do? A. She seems to have given up. B. She is getting her needs met somewhere else and her better judgment tells her to stay because I'm a good guy. But she's depressed because she desires someone else and feels trapped by our marriage. When I have fought back, it pushes her further away from me, like the disrespect gets increased and she begins to internalize the more we fight. The worse our relationship is and sadder she gets. It's like this terrible cycle of control. She wants to control me, but obviously doesn't love me. So what is the control for? I honestly think if I went out and screwed one of our interns, she wouldn't even give a crap. I look at photos of our wedding, then the person I come home to. And it's like two completely different people. She also has seen me look at our photos. And she gets mad at me for doing so and once said I don't want to look at those. Because I was thinner there and I'm fatter now. One final note, before I leave and go home. The last few times, she feels I'm not attractive enough to bond with her. I am infuriated by this. We go to places in public and I always see women making eye contact with me. I dress really well. I'm tall, very lean. And I've had women tell me my whole life how attractive I am. I would post a picture to prove everything, but I really shouldn't. Why is that my own wife doesn't even want to hold my hand? She is 29 now. We were officially married 7 months after engagement. I saw only 2 occasions of poor behavior in the entire time prior to us tying the knot. One was when she got into a verbal argument with her brother within the first 20 minutes of our visit to her parents' home. The fight just stemmed from nothing. The other time my phone died my last day of a trip. I wasn't able to communicate with her and she went nuts. I knew something was up, but sort of ignored it. She has had a good upbringing. Her relationship with her father is strained, but he's a good guy. Her longest relationship with any guy besides me has been about a year tops. Then she dumps them. When I arrived, I was met with a ton of praise from her family and relatives. They were delighted when I came into her life. Then a switch went off and I'm not sure why. I think a rush of a nice, exciting relationship was really what made her happy. And then reality sunk in. And she was back where she was before she met me. It's like she used me to improve her life. Then when I could meet all of her needs, impossible for anyone, then I was basically seen as a loser. One more note I need to add, in the very beginning of our relationship. I actually dumped her because I wasn't really sure about her and how quickly she wanted to get into a relationship with me. She sorts of stalked me. Found me FB and wrote me a few messages, anyways, 2 days after I dumped her. She apparently went out with a few friends and made out with some guy at a bar. One of my friends happened to see it all unfold. Long story, don't feel like telling it. She seems to be okay today, no conflict in the past couple of days. She mentioned a particular situation in college where she did suffer some ex. Apparently, she was a heavy drinker in college and she went to a party and completely blacked out. Some random guy did take advantage of her. She luckily was able to escape in the middle of this happening. It was also in college where she began counseling for depression. But she has always had problems with behavior. She used to fight with her mother extensively as teen, but her relationship got better with time. She holds a professional job. She works in human resources and deals with new hires and has the bubbliest of personalities. I've watched her, then, at home. She is a beast. I do feel helpless at times. I think if I try to help her. She then begins to think that she's a mess and gets even more depressed with the situation. I also need to realize that this is an adult. Some of the things that she has said to me would turn anyone's stomach. Do you blame this on her depression? Bipolar disorder, or do you reprimand her as normally functioning human being and watch her explode on me and further push her away? My parents know something is up with her. They see that I've changed and, in their words, I look like a whipped dog. Part of me wonders if she is just a huge pain or really disordered. I mean, she does seek counseling on her own so she knows something is up, but individual counseling and marriage counseling have done nothing for her. We'll come out marriage counseling and she'll just verbally yell the crap out of me later that night and forget everything the counselor said. It's beyond frustrating. What I'm thinking is that she is not cheating, but she is probably wondering if she can get a better deal since I'm so awful, which is a joke. I agree that if she was actually cheating, she would have lost a lot of weight to get with someone. She did not have a boyfriend when she met me. But she did lose weight in order to seduce me. I would be thinking this would be happening right now if another guy is in picture. So, we are basically just existing as a couple right now. It's the same old, same old. The thing is that I have a pretty full life outside of our relationship, but she seems to hate my hobbies and doesn't like most of my friends. I am pretty happy with everything in my life. Except my wife, and she is not happy in her personal life and our marriage. Here's the thing, when we do go out, she likes to talk crap about whoever was at the party or social gathering we just attended, so On the car ride home she will just complain about how the food wasn't good, she was annoyed by a few of the people, etc. I'm just trying to help, but she just is doing the glass half empty thing. We both have Facebook accounts, but I don't use mine very often. Last night I looked at her page and she had a few updates from the past couple of months. A lot of woe is me type stuff, only sunshine after the rain was a post last month. And another was, life. Is this really it? So, obviously my wife is just miserable, maybe just too miserable to even cheat. So, I questioned her on those posts and she really didn't say anything. She gave me a blank stare and kept watching TV. Naturally, I got pissed off and I asked her why she wrote those things, and her response was, "Why does this have to be so hard? I feel like our relationship is going nowhere." So, we are in a tough place. I am really close to ending it. I feel like I am no longer accountable for her happiness and that she needs to take charge of her own life. Maybe she feels like she is getting a raw deal with me, but I can't explain why she should feel this way. Like I stated earlier, we are well off. No debt. Really nice house, no kids, 2 cats. I feel like I've done my part to make her life easy and good, and she has done absolutely nothing for me personally. Does she really feel like she can get a better deal? I feel like I've always measured up pretty well. I don't deserve this treatment. She is religious, Catholic, so that is part of the reason for her wanting to stay in our marriage. So, just an observation. I caught a glimpse of her naked body getting out of the shower this morning and noticed her pubic area is not shaved. We have not had slept together since early October. So, if I'm thinking if another guy is in picture, this area would have been cleaned up like it was when we were physically active. In our counseling meeting last night, we talked about love languages and how she likes praise and I, of course, like physical affection. I'm not talking something crazy, but just hugs, cuddling on the couch, back rubs or scratches. She goes on to say that she hates cuddling, PDA, because she never grew up with that type of affection. Her father never liked hugging her, praised her, etc. So, she just expecting that all men are like her dad. She then went on to say that I remind her way too much of her dad, driven, cold at times, good social standing with others. This might be why our relationship is strained, but on the flip side, she despised an ex-boyfriend for being too warm, cheesy, and try to show too much affection to her. So, what exact route do I take? Other than packing up my belongings and moving into an apartment. BPD, this is what I'm dealing with. I think, she might be a lost cause. I think she was always really bad to begin with, but wanted to be married so badly and validated by others that she pulled out all the stops to get with me. That included losing like 40 pounds to appear more attractive, bombing me with emails, stalking me on Facebook, etc. What I don't understand why, if they are capable of doing all these things and if these feelings are honest, then why is she not capable of doing it again for me? It's like she just gave up on me after the honeymoon, and it's something that I can't ask for her to do again, based on what I'm reading. I've been painted black by my own wife. I'm not sure even arguing with her or using all of those tactics I read will even be able to work on her. I feel like the more I show respect for myself and put boundaries into the place, the more infuriated and hateful she gets. So, my final question is this. If I divorce her, she will likely find another guy really fast, right? And she will repeat this cycle with him, correct? I'm not perfect, and I think she needs someone like me in her life, and I feel like I'm good guy, but at what point is it enough? Weeks later. So, Valentine's Day went by a few days back and there was not a single touch or even a kiss. I had flowers delivered to her work earlier that day and booked a nice dinner for us. By the time we get to bed, she says her back is sore, puts on her pajamas and goes to sleep. I remember staring at the back of her head in complete disgust and almost calling her out on the fact that we haven't been intimate since early October. But it wouldn't have mattered anyways. We had a pretty bad fight tonight. I went to visit with an old college roommate earlier this evening who was visiting the area. She, my wife, wasn't feeling good. Stomachache is the usual excuse, and decided to not come out, so I went alone. I was an hour late getting home and she ripped into me for leaving her all alone tonight on our day off. Keep in mind I was home every night this week at 6 p.m. So she had my undivided attention all week. She started on me by giving me silent treatment, and once I inquired why, she tore into me, which resulted in me leaving the house and going back to my office. Upon leaving, I told her that I'm done arguing and I'm not coming back until tomorrow. I spoke to family tonight, and for the first time I disclosed that my marriage is basically dead and has been since years ago. They then disclosed that they do not like my wife and know that she has a lot of problems, but were afraid to tell me. They want me to come this weekend and talk about things. So, we decided to meet for lunch today since I did not come home this morning, preferring to shower at our office and sleep on my office floor last night. I told her that I want her to get out and get hobbies and contribute to this relationship in some way. She essentially works, complains about life, eats dinner, calls her mom, then lays on the couch every night. I told her that she relies on me for her happiness, and that is not fair to me because that is not in my skill set. Nor is it anyone's for that matter. I then told her that I'm fed up with the lack of intimacy, and we are not having a child until that issue is resolved. I asked her why she doesn't feel like bonding together, and she doesn't know why. But she thinks it's her depression meds. Finally, I told her that I loved her a lot, but I'm done living in misery. Her attitude sucks and I'm fed up with it. Throughout lunch, she told me that I'm insensitive and did a lot of wow. Really nice in a sarcastic tone. She did a lot of glaring at me and wrinkling up her nose. Typical reactions to being called out on the truth. She then criticized me for leaving last night and not staying and working it out with her when I got home. I've made a personal decision to leave her if she doesn't get her act together by at least April. And don't worry, here's the thing, I don't want to have a child with her at all at this point. The constant berating gives me no confidence. Among other things, that she wouldn't be a good mother, impatient, moody, and probably our bedroom life would be non-existent again. While we were dating, and I dumped her briefly, I just had some weird gut feeling and felt like I could do better. She was also sort of clingy. And she hooked up with some random dude at the bar 4 days later. This was after 2 months of dating where she told me she was falling in love with me. So basically, you are in love with someone, but you can shut off those feelings immediately and get with some stranger. That should have been a warning in itself. I know we are different, but I don't rebound with some random individual to make myself feel better. As far as intimacy, you are right. Once I proposed, it slowly dwindled. I just want to say that I have not been a perfect individual in this relationship, many times. Out of frustration, I have fought back when she got out of line and started picking the fights. The big thing is that she can't control me, which gets her angry and possibly depressed. It's like as soon as I stood my ground, she became this completely different person. Is this a BPD trait? 2 months later, well, I ended it last night. I had enough. She picked her last fight with me. She called me a loser and a something else. I don't remember. It's all a blur. Anyways, I blew a gasket. Told her I wanted a divorce, and I went to stay at friend's house. I'm still here now. We are watching hockey. And he told me to talk with him when I feel like it. She is currently at our house and is crying. She is trying to talk with me via text and I'm not answering anything. Lots of voicemails. She is going to go home to her parents' house. I'm just numb right now. I know I'm making the right move, but I'm in love with her. My parents have been informed. My dad said the following. It's about time, son. So, they knew all along. I hope I did the right thing. This feels like someone passed. I actually cried for the first time in many years. It was this incredible emotional release that had been pent up for 3 years. I knew this wasn't going to end well, but I believed in this woman. My heart still beats a little quicker when I see her. That attraction is still there. I even hugged her last night after our fight. She keeps asking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I told her, the way you treat me, I can't do this anymore. You just treat me so bad. You don't even love me. It has always been about her. I know that. I did everything perfect for her. The huge diamonds, the perfect engagement photos. The wedding day. The honeymoon, the perfect house. Everything but a baby. That was her final checkpoint that she did not cross with me. I feel completely and totally used. She attained everything she wanted and it just quit on me. I was pissed at her last night. And I literally said out loud, what a spoiled brat, while I tried to fall asleep on my friend's couch. Nothing was ever good enough. I came back to my house this morning and moved some clothes into the guest room because I'm going to stay at my house tonight. As I went into our bedroom, I heard her crying in the shower. She has made no attempt to patch things up since Sunday night and has not told me she loves me. I talked to my mother this morning and she said I just had this gut feeling about her. Even on your wedding day. It was odd. It was like she was celebrating herself as opposed to your union. It made me sad for you, but we couldn't say anything to you about it because you loved her. And then my mom started crying. So, this is not going well at all. I feel tremendous guilt and I hate to see my loved ones upset, but I realize that my soon-to-be ex-wife's love is not real and never was. We have not slept together since last October. We haven't even kissed on the lips since Valentine's Day. I have watched her closely over the past 2 months. I've been lurking on this site and trying to pick up clues based on what has happened to people on this board. I can say with about 90% certainty that she is not cheating. I have not checked her phone, a BlackBerry, but I do watch her leave every morning and I'm home from work every night at a reasonable hour. She had no real friends, so she lays on the couch every night, unless I force her to go out with her co-workers, which she doesn't even like to do. She is completely out of shape. She's 5 feet 2, about 170 pounds right now, and depressed. So I doubt anything is happening. There have been no changes in behavior since last summer that tell me something is going on behind the scenes. I think it really comes down to 3 things. 1. BPD, depression, meds. 2. Rushed engagement, marriage without really knowing her. 3. Me not making enough money, while a good majority of the people she works with pull 80,000 plus per year. So, I seem like less of man because I make 56. Yes, she's that materialistic. She texted me and told me she's taking the rest of week off and going to her parents' house, so I'm coming home to an empty house tonight. She made it back to her parents' house tonight. I texted her and asked her to text me as soon as she arrived. I wanted to make sure she made it there safely. I called her about a half hour ago, and she was still sobbing. She said that every place she passed on the way home reminded her of me. She also said she is in hell. I just told her I am sorry, but I know you don't love me anymore and haven't for a while now, and that it's best that I disappear from your life. She has told her mom, and her mom keeps asking her, is he sure? My wife keeps asking why I am not even upset, and that I need to go home and see my family too. But for me, I am just too numb. The pain she inflicted has made us virtually gone, starved, and sad. I don't feel any pain at all really at this moment, just in this weird, suspended state. I'm asking myself if this was right from the beginning. Her only duty was just to love me. A simple hug would have been fine. And here's the problem. I know precisely how this is going to play out. As soon as I'm gone, she'll miraculously get her act together and become the woman I want her to be and get with some other dude. I know this will happen. I'm not supposed to be this woman's teacher or mentor. She's a grown adult. I will have served as a guy who merely kept the seat warm, and this is not fair at all. Why can't she get her act together now? I don't think I've ever loved and hated someone before. Is this normal? Feel this way? Going into marriage, my wife had her own psychiatrist. We had 2 marriage counselors during our marriage. The first was a relationship therapist. My wife didn't like her because she ripped into my wife a lot. So we picked up a new one. The second one was more traditional. This counselor urged us to meet with her together and then with me separately, while my ex continued to meet with her own psychiatrist on the side. In my meeting, our marriage counselor told me that she is most likely bipolar based on her interactions with her. The meds she takes are to combat those mood swings. I went and read more about bipolar disorders and stumbled upon BPD and NPD. At that point, I brought a BPD checklist back to our counselor in my private session. And she just said, yup, she just sort of wished me the best. Just back from the bar and broke the news to a friend and his girlfriend. I told her some of the things that have happened. I didn't reveal too much, because it's still sort of raw. And not fair to my wife. Last summer, she carefully observed my wife while at a wedding reception, and she could tell something was wrong with her. She said that she seemed disconnected. She didn't want to say too much but admitted that she also found her really moody and picky about everything. I was not born yesterday. They were hiding what they really felt about her. And I could the look of disgust that they were trying to hide from me. I guess it's pretty universal in our social circle that she isn't well liked. No calls from the wife at all today. I guess that says a lot, right? She returned Sunday night. I'm not sure what I'm in for. A week later, she returned last night. I managed to ignore her until just before bed, when she corners me and in this nasty tone asks me how I felt since she's been away, and I tell her, to be honest, it's been far less stressful with you gone. She says, well, that about says it all. She disappears and goes back into her room. You know, if she would have come back and tried to be friendly with me, I was ready to be good to her and listen. I might have reconsidered reconciliation, but every interaction with her has been bad since our big blowout. She is just about the least tactful person I've ever met. I don't even understand her approach, at least attempt to be enduring to give me a reason to reconsider. I know she doesn't love me but wants to stay married because she doesn't want the social stigma or to be seen as a failure. She's such a phony. We have contacted a real estate agent to put our house on the market. I have no plans of leaving our house until it sells. I'm on the fence of whether or not I should try to get a peek at her phone. She hasn't been going out at all now that we are separated, and I figured she would be every night to get away from me and get with another man if she did have something going on the side. I'm still watching her, not sure if it matters anymore. 3 months later, some updates. We are still living under the same roof, not saying much to each other. I'm sleeping in the guest room. We have pets and we take turns babysitting them on the weekend. She'll go out with a friend or go home to her parents. I'll do basically the same thing. We are still Facebook friends. Things have been pretty quiet. I'm talking to my friend who is a lawyer and he's guiding me through paperwork, educating me, etc. He's drafting up some paperwork for me to serve her the papers. She has also consulted a lawyer. At this point, we have agreed to split everything in half of our checking, joint savings. She'll take one car. I'll take the other. Our house is on the market and we are getting some good interest and a few offers. I've started to look for apartments. 2 things out of curiosity have happened. 1, I was eating dinner one night at our kitchen table. I was feeling pretty bad about everything. She noticed my expression and said, "What is going on? Why do you look that way?" I said, "This is really hard." She got angry and half scolded me. "If you want to stay in this, you need to let me know." I looked at her and thought to myself, if you would have phrased it differently with some compassion, I would reconsider just a little bit. So, obviously, she doesn't want it to end, but treats me poorly. 2, her weight loss has started. Her clothes are starting to hang on her. We had to meet with a real estate agent and my wife would not even look me in the eye at the meeting. Seemed very avoidant. That night I creeped her Facebook page and didn't see anything suspicious. She is not going out on the weekdays. But I'm noticing something is off. Like she is firmly detaching from me and treats me like stranger. It is like a switch has gone off. She's such an entitled person. She believes anything is wrong with her. She's not guilty about anything. She's just pissed because she won't be married anymore. It has nothing to do with losing me. I was a prop through the whole thing. She didn't think she ever would get married and I filled that void. She treats everyone this way. None of her bridesmaids even talk to her. Her dad doesn't like talking with her and ignores her, and same can be said for her brother. Her co-workers don't want to hang out with her. All she has is her mother. Notice a trend here. Now, she's lost me, the house, her diamonds, and a marriage. I'm sorry, she deserved this. If my wife had slept with another man prior to us splitting up, under no circumstances would I ever want to work it out. That is the most insulting thing you can ever do to someone you love. So, right now she's getting back to her wedding weight again. She is looking thinner every week. Avoiding me. I definitely sense something is going on and she's working on finding a new guy or whatever. Whatever the case is, I do not feel comfortable inquiring about what is going on. Her response recently. When asked about our marriage, she just said it just wasn't right. That has been her only excuse or answer. My response, which I've never told her, is, it's right and I've given you everything. So, things are perfect for you, but they've never been good for me because you've given me nothing but lousy behavior and pain. For you to say, it just isn't right is probably the most hurtful thing you could ever say. You ungrateful wife, my comment. Part 2, the ending to this story coming a few hours from this video. Sub and bell to watch it as soon as it uploads.